You're listening to the Free on the Outside podcast. I'm Brandon Carmody. We have the honor today of being here with Pastor Mike Cross. Hi, Mike.
And I'm Pastor Mike.
Mike, will you tell the listeners about Free on the Outside and
Okay.
How it came to be? What was your idea?
We were created and started back in about 2008 when we were helping people get out of prison and found out that a lot of them had a hard time finding housing and a lot of them had a hard time finding a place to go to church when they got out where they'd be accepted and welcomed. And so we started a church. It's all adult only, so we can take anyone getting out of prison, no matter what. And then we found that they couldn't find a place to live either, a lot of restrictions. And so we opened up a housing program for guys when they get out of prison.
Incredible.
And we've been going about 8 years.
About 8 years.
Yeah.
And are you proud? And does it give you personal fulfillment and on several different levels to have helped so many lives and impacted so many lives in that time?
I'm humbled.
Humbled.
That it's a privilege just to share and to give back, and that God can use the things I've struggled with in a good way to help other people. The things He's taught me, I can give them away and share with other people, and it just amazes me that He can do that. He continues to change people's lives and take the difficult things people are going through and use them for good, because that's what He's done with my life, and that's what He continues to kind of reproduce every week here at this church.
Have you ever thought about doing a podcast or sort of getting the message from this church in Oregon City out to a more broad audience before?
We've been growing and getting more stable and stronger, and have always thought at some point we're going to try to do this somewhere else and to reach the larger church and to reach out and maybe start other Free on the Outsides in other places where people get out of prison and need help too.
All right.
It's really important that when someone gets out of prison that they find a place of faith on the outside where they're loved and accepted no matter what. And so a lot of guys miss out when they get out of prison because they don't find a church. And so it really helps them maintain their faith and grow as a person and become helpful in the community and society after they get out, if they can find a support place for their faith and a place where they can grow as a person.
Well, this is an incredible program, Mike. We're honored and humbled to help bring this podcast to the world, and we'll see how it goes. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Good worship.
Okay, so I'm reading yesterday's Jesus. Oh, by the way, I'm Candy. I'm reading yesterday's devotion, Jesus Calling. I was in my war room last night and I was reading this and I just was like, God just spoke to me. And so I think this can apply to all of us and specifically to some other people. So it says, I am God who heals. I heal broken bodies, broken minds, broken hearts, broken lives, and broken relationships. My very presence has immense healing powers. You cannot live close to me without experiencing some degree of healing. However, it is also true that you have not because you have not asked, or you have because you ask not. You receive the healing that flows naturally from my presence, whether you seek it or not. But there is much, much more available to those who ask. The first step in receiving healing is to live ever so close to me. The benefits of this practice are too numerous to list. As you grow more and more intimate with me, I reveal my will to you more directly. When the time is right, I prompt you to ask for healing of some brokenness in you or another person. The healing may be instantaneous or it may be a process. That is up to me. Your part is to trust me fully and thank me for the restoration that has begun. I rarely heal all the brokenness in a person's life. Even my servant Paul was told, my grace is sufficient for you, when he sought healing for the thorn in his flesh. Nonetheless, much healing is available to those whose lives are intimately interwoven with mine. Ask and you will receive. Ye have not because ye has asked not. James 4:2. To keep me from becoming conceited because of these surpassingly great revelations, there was given me a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord, take it away from me, but he said, my grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:7-9. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Matthew 7:7. Yeah.
So last week, I preached about Jesus being the light of the world. And from my New Living Translation, and Al, I forgot to tell you, I have my older Bible, my New American Standard Bible, because I can't find my other one. It's pretty bad when a pastor can't find his Bible. But I happen to have a few of them. And so this Bible is pretty big. If any of you, I can be a Bible thumper. Actually, this is the New American Standard Bible is the Bible that I memorized most of the verses in after I became a believer. And so it's comfortable for me, and I hope you enjoy it as well. Most of us in this church are in recovery from hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Most of us have experienced some pretty difficult things in our life, and most of us have challenges trying to figure out what we're going to do when we grow up, right? Like, what decisions am I supposed to make with my job, with relationships, with where I live, with where I'm supposed to go, what I'm supposed to do, who I'm supposed to be. Is that right? Yeah. So if you were God and you were going to come to this planet and try to save it, how would you do it? Would you like set up a big religious colony somewhere, some way, so that people could get saved, or would you try to establish a new religion, or would you be a political system? If you were going to come to the earth as God, would you like be a big person, taller than me, or would you? That was supposed to be funny. What would you do? How would God reach humanity? And I have a really difficult time thinking about doing it any other way than what Jesus did. Right? If I was going to do it, I would have compassion for people. I would have mercy for people and try to understand their human weaknesses. What else would I do? I would love them. Would I judge someone that wasn't quite like me? Or would I accept people just the way they are and show them a way to get healthy or to save them out of this world, right? And I started thinking about that, and everything I could think of turned me back to the person I'm going to preach about tonight. To the person that said, I'm the light of the world. Jesus, right? The Bible says he was moved with compassion when he saw people. It says he had mercy. He says, it was heard you've said, you shall not commit murder, but I say to you, whoever is angry with his brother. So in other words, it wasn't just about the rules and regulations, but it was about the spirit of the heart. And he understood our heart. What else could he have done? But you know what I do? I get busy. Any of you get busy? Okay? And George, hi George. Good to see you. Welcome back. Mom. And it just seems lately that it just seems like there's more stress, anxiety, things on our mind that we're kind of struggling with. And I don't think it's just me. And so Jesus comes along and he says, cast all your anxieties upon me because I care for you. And I get this picture of Jesus in I don't know if he had a chair but do you remember this? The little kids were coming to him, bothering him, And what did Jesus do? He said, don't turn the little children away. Let them come to me and he grabbed the children, put them on his lap, and he said, you must become as a little child to enter the kingdom of heaven. And then he was real busy, and he had all these crowds around him, and he'd been teaching and preaching for days. And someone came to him that was sick, or they couldn't walk, or they were blind, or they couldn't hear, or this one woman had been bleeding for years. And here's what Jesus did. He said, well, I've been kind of busy lately. I've been preparing a lot of sermons, and I don't really have time for you. Right? No, that doesn't quite sound like Jesus, right? What amazes me is no matter how busy he was, if someone came to want to talk to him or had a need, he always stopped what he was doing, even in the middle of a crowd, and he took the time to listen to one person. I was a mentor in Washington County, and on my mentor sheets every week, or handouts that we did, it always said, you never need to be alone. Right? There's someone out there that cares about you, that will listen. And I've been doing this study this week about Jesus, and if you're having trouble with work, I want to let you know Jesus can help you with your job. Right? If you're having trouble trying to find out what you should do, if you should get a new job or a different job, if you should turn your resume in with a cover letter to the company you didn't really want to work for, but you think you might want to, that's me, just a minute. He will show me what I should do as far as work, right? What about relationships? If I'm struggling with relationships, isn't he big enough and he knows me well enough